All right. All right, good morning. This is the January 11th, 2022 Economic Development Authority meeting, which I'm calling to order. First order of business is roll call. Jamie.
EDA President Bailey.
Here.
EDA Vice President Dennis.
Here.
EDA Member Carey.
Here.
EDA Member Knopp. EDA Member Crone. EDA Member Myers.
Here.
EDA Member Thewis.
Here.
Awesome, thank you. Next is 3 is approval of the minutes. 3.1 is approval of the December 14th, 2021 EDA meeting minutes. If there are no changes or corrections, I'll need a motion to approve in a second.
Motion to approve the minutes.
All right, motion by EDA Vice President Dennis,
Second.
second by EDA Member Thewis. Any further discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. 4 is business items, a couple of them here. So we'll start with Jennifer, our city administrator. 4.1 is economic development update and business inquiry.
Well, good morning, Mayor, members of the EDA. It's exciting to bring you some additional business updates. One of the things I'll just mention is that typically we give you the beige book update. At this point, the beige book for January has not been published, so we will provide you that update in February. When it comes to Innovative Chemical, or ICC as we know them, they have completed their 18,000 square foot addition and are working on completing their interior items as they get that enclosed with winter conditions. So exciting to see their expansion move forward. And speaking of expansions, North Star Steel and North Star Sheets is completing their expansion as well. There's just a shot of their exterior as they're starting to enclose that and moving to the interior items. I should note when it comes to the actual coloration and some of those exterior treatments, obviously that will be done in the spring. Pine Arbor Christian Academy, their exterior is substantially complete and their interior finishes are just being done, so they're moving forward well there. When it comes to our own project at Hamlet Park, it's exciting to see that our shelter is now coming to completion there. We'll kind of do those final touch-ups and painting and final treatments in the spring. And Caribou Cabin, they've obviously been open, and if some of you have visited their drive-through, if you have a large vehicle, there had been some issues with their turning radiuses, so the actual area in gray on the screen will be removed. That area will be widened to help reduce that turning radius and some of those challenges there. So if you hear of anything out there in the public, you'll know that that's being addressed. Currently, we have a ribbon cutting tentative for January 28th, but I think as we all recognize, COVID is providing a lot of challenges for a lot of businesses, so that has a big tentative date on it. It will really depend on the conditions at the time. When it comes to development residentially, Woodward Ponds, they're seeing a really spike in sales in regards to their townhome product, so they're going to be amending their preliminary plat for a portion of the Woodward third edition. Right now, their slab on grade product is selling really well for their townhomes, so they're going to be making a few modifications to their preliminary plat to add more of those unit styles, so that will be going to the Planning Commission in January. When it comes to McCaddy Landing, this is actually going to be at the Planning Commission in January as well. They have met with a lot of the adjacent neighbors and resolved some of the issues and challenges specifically along this property line with Ravine Meadows addition where that ponding and screening was. And so now they'll be going to the Planning Commission for those 80 single-family units. Mississippi Dunes Landing made a preliminary plat application related to their product. They're bringing in 312 single-family units, 8 cooperative townhome units, which would be located up in this area in the medium density section, with 52 cooperative condos with age restrictions. There was a neighborhood meeting last week on Thursday. There was approximately 8 residents that were in attendance, and the primary discussion was about the realignment of Gray Cloud Trail in this area, and then the actual tree preservation in this section of the property as well. And obviously the existing residents wanted to make sure that they weren't going to be mandated to hook up to sewer and water, which they're not. So those were a lot of the comments from those residents. As you are all aware, there is an EAW for this project. It closed on January 6th for comments. We did get a lot of comments, and so it's going to be a little bit more time-consuming to actually provide responses. So we originally thought we were going to be at the January 19th council meeting. We're anticipating we'll be at the February 2nd council meeting for that decision document in regards to the EAW. So this project wouldn't be to the Planning Commission until February till that EAW decision document is made. And with that, I'll stand for any questions that you may have.
All right, EDA, any questions for Jennifer? Awesome, thank you. Well, we'll move right along here, then we'll go to 4.2, which is 100th in Jamaica, Ryan Company's letter of intent.
Well, Mayor, members of the EDA, Ryan Companies have submitted an LOI for the 13 acres located at the intersection of 100th Street in Jamaica. Airgas, you can see, is adjacent to them. In this area, Airgas is now operational. Ryan Companies has indicated that they have an end user who'd be looking at approximately a 50,000 square foot building. They do have an NDA related to the end user, so we don't know a lot about it. We do know that they're compliant with the I-1 zoning, and that there could be some potential benefits or synergy with Airgas. So at this time, we are asking for approval of the LOI that is in your packet. The value is just over 1.8 million in regards to that, so we are asking for approval of that this morning.
All right, EDA, any questions for Jennifer on this item? We keep selling land out there, or working to. So if there's no questions from the EDA, we'll definitely need a motion that's before you on the screen, and a second.
I'll make a motion to authorize the EDA President and City Administrator to execute the letter of intent with Ryan Companies for the purchase of approximately 13 acres located at the corner of 100th Street South and Jamaica Avenue South at $3.25 per square foot.
All right, so I have a motion by EDA member Myers. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Second by EDA member Carey. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. All right, now we'll move to 4.3, which is 97th and Hemingway, Syndica LLP, letter of intent.
Well, Mayor and members of the EDA, today we're bringing before you another letter of intent for the combination of the 22.4 acres and the 3-acre parcel at 97th and Hemingway. You'll recall in November we had a letter of intent from a different company. Unfortunately, they have walked away from that project. You'll recall that as part of our project with AGCO, we put in a tremendous amount of site grading related to this parcel and preparing it to be shovel-ready status with Excel and with deed, and creating additional stormwater basins on the site in preparation for development. So now at this time, we do have another LOI before us from Syndica to put 2 additional buildings on this site. And actually, the company representative, Brian Bachman, is here, and so I will ask him to come introduce himself, his company, and what he's proposing to do on the site. Brian.
Hi, I'm Brian Bachman. I'm with the Enclave Companies. We are based out of Fargo, North Dakota. We started working in the Twin Cities in 2019. In October of 2019, we're now working on 14 different projects in 12 different cities, mostly multifamily and industrial, and a little bit of mixed use, but for the most part, those are our 2 food groups. On this project, we actually have 3 different options that our design team has put together that we'll start meeting with our leasing folks on. 2 of them have 2 buildings, 1 of them has 1 big building. So it'll really depend on what our leasing folks think that is gonna be the best delivery. But we will be starting on the project as soon as we can get our steel and everything. We're gonna be doing it as a spec project. So we'll get started on it and hopefully can get it leased up with some of the folks that we've been working with in other parts of town before we ever get done. But that's kind of the plan for this area.
All right.
Can answer any questions if you got any.
Any questions? Yes, EDA member Thewis.
I'm just kind of curious, because of the proximity to the neighborhood right next to the site, is there going to be heavy machinery or something loud that would disrupt the neighborhood next to it?
It's tough to say because it's, as a spec building, we really aren't gonna be knowing what our end user is until we're at least partway through construction. So, it's tough to say if that's gonna be manufacturing, if it'll be warehousing, it could be a mixture of both depending on which way we build the buildings. So, tough to say this early in the game.
But there might be some type of noise barrier or something if it is.
Yeah, we'll do some landscaping buffers and so on that we can try to do. That's what we try to do whenever we're too close to anything else other than just industrial, is we try to buffer it out with some landscape and other different things that we can do to help break things up.
Thank you.
All right, thank you. Any other questions from EDA? Well, thank you again for driving out so early this morning. All right, so if no other questions for the applicant or staff at this point, we have a motion before us again up on the screen.
I will motion to authorize the EDA president and the city administrator to execute the letter of intent with Syndica LLP for the purchase of 25.4 acres of land at the corner of 97th Street South and Hemingway Avenue South at $3.50 per square foot.
All right, so I have a motion by EDA member Thewis. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by EDA Vice President Dennis. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. There you go. That was pretty quick for that long drive. All right, thank you. Number 5 is public hearings, and again, we have 2 of them this morning. Jennifer will take us through first 5.1, which is 100th and Hemingway land purchase by Renewal by Andersen.
Well, thank you, Mayor, members of the EDA. This morning, we have Renewal's land purchase and sale. Obviously, we've been doing this for a lot of years where we actually buy from WAG and then sell. Because of the selling component of the land, we're legally required to hold a public hearing per the state statute that's on the screen. And all legal publications have been noticed. I will remind you that they're looking to buy the 19.34 acres that's shown in yellow there. They're looking at a 350,000 square foot building expansion. The EDA did approve their purchase agreement on November 9th. And so at this time, per state statute, we're asking you to hold the public hearing for the actual sale of the land that we would be acquiring as part of our business park development that we do with the WAG Trust. So at this time, we're asking you to hold the public hearing, and then the motion on the screen is before you.
All right, questions by EDA on this one before I open the public hearing? Jennifer, real quick, can you go back to the, just from my knowledge, with that purchase by Renewal by Andersen, there's really, I know the middle part there is stormwater. The other 2 parcels, is that, I'm assuming the one could be leaf line, but eventual, but the other one, is that future Garden World?
Mayor,
Or could be?
Mayor, members of the EDA, the parcel that I'm circling here is a stormwater outlot, and then these other 2 parcels are also stormwater outlots. So at this point, this would actually
That's why I
complete
was
this
curious.
entire section, and there would be no additional parcels available. As we look at Renewal by Andersen, they'll actually be extending their building further down than what you see today. So just continue with a parallel expansion along 100th. There would be a modified entrance from 100th, and they'd have another access point off of Hemingway. And the nice thing is there's a nice line of trees that already exist parallel to Hemingway to provide screening of their additional truck parking area there. So we'll have more details on the site plan in the coming months.
Fantastic, thank you. All right, so I'll go ahead then and open the public hearing. Is there anybody who wants to speak on this item? Is welcome to do so. All right, seeing none out there at this point, I'll go ahead and close the public hearing, and I'll look for a motion.
I'll motion to approve a resolution approving the purchase of property from WAG and sale of property to Renewal by Andersen for development purposes.
All right, so I have a motion by EDA member Carey. Do I have a second?
I'll second that motion.
All right, second by EDA member Myers. Any other discussions? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Now we'll move to 5.2, which is 95th and Jamaica land purchase, endeavor, and purchase agreement. Jennifer?
Well, Mayor, members of the EDA, we have a lot of sale going on in our business park currently. As part of this, Endeavor is looking to develop the 19 acres at 95th in Jamaica. You'll recall we had a plat application so that we could create the 19 acres into a buildable lot. The additional land that's circled here became the stormwater pond outlot. Actually, at the last council meeting, the council awarded the contract for the preparation of this stormwater pond expansion, and then site preparation activities related to the 19 acres to make it developable. At this time, Endeavor is anticipating a 260,000 square foot spec building. Similar to what we're seeing in the market, all of their end users would be compliant with the I-1 zoning. At the November EDA meeting, you did approve the LOI with Endeavor. And just as we did for Renewal, as we buy from WAG and now sell to Endeavor, per state statute, we're required to hold a public hearing in regards to that sale. So at this time, we'll have the resolution for the actual purchase of the property from WAG with the sale, and then we also have the purchase agreement then between the EDA and WAG, and then the EDA to Endeavor as that third motion.
All right, so any questions for staff on this one? Once again, I'll go ahead and open the public hearing. Is there anybody who would like to speak on this item? And seeing none out in the audience, we'll go ahead and close the public hearing. Again, we have three separate motions here. We'll start with the first one, number one.
I'll make a motion, Mayor, that we approve resolution approving the purchase of property from WAG and sale of property to Endeavor Investments, VI 6, whatever that is, LLC for the development purposes.
All right, so we have a motion by EDA Vice President Dennis. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by EDA Member Thewis. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Who would like to do number two?
Motion to authorize the EDA president and the city administrator to execute the purchase agreement with WAG for the purchase of 19.17 acres of development, or acres for development purposes.
All right, so we have a motion by EDA Member Thewis. Do I have a second?
Second that?
Second by EDA Member Myers. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. And then number three.
I'll motion to authorize the EDA president and city administrator to execute the purchase agreement with Endeavor Investments 6 LLC for the purchase of 19.17 acres.
All right, so we have a motion by EDA Member Carey. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by EDA Vice President Dennis. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. There we go.
I had a quick question.
Oh, yeah, EDA Member Carey.
In terms of infrastructure, so just the times, in terms of traffic on Jamaica, I know we have the big business park potentially coming in, now Renewal by Andersen expanding. I can't remember, Syndica was the other one next to my old business up there, and then now this one. Is there any infrastructure plans or how about traffic, et cetera? Just wondering what's going to happen in that regard.
Well, Mayor, members of the EDA, that is a great question, because you're right, as part of the North Point development, they had to do additional traffic modeling in regards to level of service at the various intersections. As part of North Point, we're anticipating seeing a traffic signal go at 100th in Jamaica. Probably in 2023 is when we're anticipating a traffic signal there. Obviously, we've installed the traffic signal at 95th and Jamaica, so that's providing that. We're also working to actually extend 100th Street over to Trunk Highway 61 at Innovation to provide that connection with a railroad bridge over the railroad to provide more efficient flow of traffic out of that business park area. It's part of one of our main legislative agenda items to do that. We're in discussions with 3M in regards to that. So that would help alleviate that. But even in the interim and in the next 5 years, even with the growth projections, we don't see that any negative impact will happen to the existing intersection. We also are undergoing the AUAR update for our business park. And so we would anticipate that work being completed before the City Council in February, and that will address even a greater level of growth potential within the business park and what improvements would be necessary. But it's a great question. The thing you'll see more in the immediate future is that signal at 100th in Jamaica.
So until then, just avoid that area at around 3 o'clock when Andersen windows lets out.
I am anticipating we won't have too many challenges, but we'll see in regards to the timing.
You know, it's interesting. I'll just piggyback a little bit on that, on the comment. You know, when we had our Public Works Director, Ryan Burfine, was at a city council meeting, I believe. They did the traffic study and they did looked at that Jamaica roundabout. And it's funny because you hear it too. Believe me, I hear it. You know, hey, it's really crazy during a certain time of the day. But we found out though is they grade intersections, A, B, C, D, E, F, and I believe it's graded A right now. And once full build out is done, it would be a grade C, is what I'm hearing. And how they do that, just for you and for the public, is how long would somebody actually have to sit before they can get into the roundabout? And I think it's like 60 seconds, I believe, is the one that he was sharing, or less than. I think it was 45. And then as it got to C, it might be 60. Now, eventually, like we said, our goal is to get 100 Street, expanded and moved to link on to Highway 61. That would pretty much take North Point, and a lot of that other traffic will be easier for them to go down 100 to get onto 61 than frankly to try to go through the roundabout. So, but yeah, I just thought I'd throw that out there because we've heard the same thing, and so that's why we've been wanting to make sure from a study standpoint, how long are people truly waiting there? You wait longer at the light on Jamaica and East Point Douglas than you wait at the roundabout. But we're fixing that one. So anyway, any other questions? All right, thank you. Number 6 is other business. We do have the EDA calendar, and as Jennifer had mentioned, we do have a tentative date for the Caribou Cabin ribbon cutting. And that's pretty much the only item on the agenda. I will mention to the EDA that the council will be doing a strategic planning workshop here in a couple of weeks to kind of go over, goals and objectives for the next 3 to 5 years. And also going through some of we just literally yesterday just got some of the results, if you will, from the community-wide survey that the staff had done. So we're kind of deciphering through some of that information too, and that'll be shared and discussed at that retreat. Number 6.2, EDA comments and requests. Anything? EDA? All right, none. And 6.3 was your response to previous EDA comments. There were none, I believe, this morning. 7 is the workshop, which we do not have today. And so I guess we're all the way down to looking for an adjournment. So I'll need a motion.
I'll motion to adjourn.
All right, so we have a motion by EDA member Carey. Do we have a second?
Second that one?
Second by EDA member Myers. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? We are adjourned.